Yeah. Yeah, good afternoon, Shweta. Good afternoon, Shweta. We're just arranging the video. Yeah, I think the quality is fine now. Yeah, okay. Okay, so let's get started. Yes, Satish, hello. Let's get started. So, our topic for today is direction sense. Okay, so we'll be learning the basic concepts first and then we'll start seeing the questions. Okay, questions are fairly simple if you just have a little bit of understanding of directions and how you measure distances using right triangles and simple rectangles. That is the very basic requirement. Whatever is the requirement, I'll cover it in the initial part. Okay, now let's get started. So first thing, direction sense. Okay, so you know about north, east, south, west. Okay, these are called cardinal directions or the major directions. So these are your major directions. Then north, east, south, west. Then next thing is these minor directions that are north, east, right in the middle of north and east. Similarly, southeast, southwest, northwest. This is fine. Now, the angle, if you see between a minor, between adjacent minor and major direction is what is very clearly 45 degree. If you know this, I am talking about this angle between adjacent minor and major angle. The angle is 45 degree. Now if you look here, then between these two, that is between north and west and all this, or west or south, the angle is 90 degree. Also one more thing, that if you look at two directions, yes Soundarya, if you look at two directions like northeast and southeast, then they also have an angle of 90 degree between, correct? So any two adjacent angle between adjacent minor directions is 90 degree. Adjacent minor, adjacent mean bagal bagal mein, that is here and just the next one. So northeast and southeast, the angle is 90 degree. Okay, most people already know this. So these are our four main directions and the four minor directions. Okay, now let's understand. So in these questions, what a typical question look like? A typical question would be like, Ram moves from his house towards north, then he turns towards his right, then he turns towards his left, then he turns again towards his right and walks 5 meters. Then how far is he from his house, or in what direction is he from his house? Okay, all these questions are there. Now, so first thing what we need to understand is how you deal with goes right, goes left, all this. Okay, okay, now see. So if somebody is going, let's say north, if I am going north, okay, now what is my right? My right is very clearly this side. So this is my right. In questions they will say that Ram is moving north, then he moved towards his right. So you always have to consider from Ram only, from the perspective of Ram. So Ram is going north, this is my right, and this becomes my left. So this is my left. Similarly, if I'm going east like this, now this is the black band that you have, that I have here, is my left hand. Okay, now this is very clearly my right side. So this is right and this is the left side. This you understand, left and right. Now if I'm moving in the west direction like this, then you can see my hand, this is my west and that is my, this is my right and this is my left. Now all these three directions are very normal. Okay, you can also feel it while drawing also. Like for example, if I start drawing like this, I can feel it that this seems like my right. Correct? Now, the only problem that students are not able to visualize is with respect to south. Now, of course, you can visualize it like this. Like if I am moving down like this, then what is my right? This is my right and this is my left. So here is my right and here is my left. Now, of course, you won't be doing this Bharatanatyam all the time. So there are ways in which you can remember this. Now, this is the way that I find best. So this is what? This is what? This is a swastik, correct? Now, swastik always points towards right. Okay, not according to some scriptures or anything. This is just according to me. Okay, so this is a swastik. It always points towards right. So if I'm going north, this is right. If I'm going east, this is right. Can you see? Right and this right. So one, you try to remember this, and one more way you remember, that is many times we get confused when we are going south. Okay, when we are drawing a person going south, so I remember it like this. South is like this, correct? Then if he goes in this direction, now here you get confused, this is left or right. What letter it is forming? It is forming L. So you write it like left. This is another thing that you can remember. Okay, so these two will help you find any direction whenever you're looking for right or left. You remember swastik is always right, and the other thing is that this L forms the left. Okay, so whenever you are going south, you make this, you immediately know this is L, it is going left. These are the two things that you can remember. Yes, Chandana. Okay, then now once you understand this, see, now one more thing we need to understand is this. Some note points. First, right is equivalent to clockwise. Whenever a question says you that a person goes towards his right, it also means that he is going in the clockwise direction. Okay, now feel this. Feel this. So basically, if I am going towards east, if I am going towards east like this, now I turn right. I am going towards east like this. I turn right. What is this? Clockwise or anti-clockwise? Huh? So if you remember, this is the clock, correct? So if you go from 12 to 1 to 3, this is clockwise, and if you go in opposite direction, this is anti-clockwise. So this is clockwise, this is anti-clockwise. In Hindi we call it घड़ी के साथ घड़ी के विपरीत. Okay, that is with the clock opposite to the clock. Okay, now so clockwise and anti-clockwise you understand now very clearly. This is what, if you can't see clockwise anti-clockwise, just move till 12 o'clock, then you will see it very easily. If you go from 12 to 1, it is clockwise. If you go from 12 to 11, then it is anti-clockwise. So if you're ever getting confused by this, just think of its extension around 12, then it will be very clear to you. So very clearly right is towards clockwise. Now you look here also, he is going north like this, then right is towards again clockwise. Similarly here also right is clockwise. Similarly here also you can see if he is turning like this, this is clockwise. So right is always equals to clockwise, or left is always equivalent to anti-clockwise, correct? Now this you always try to remember. Then after this, there are 2-3 points that will be used later in questions, so we are just dealing with them here only. Now unless otherwise mentioned, turn angle is always 90 degree. So if in a question it says that a person is going north, then he turns right. Now right at what angle? Correct. If I am going like this in the north, now turns right. Now this is also right, this is also right, this is also right, correct? In normal sense all these are right directions, but unless otherwise mentioned, we don't even consider the other two. We always consider that the angle is 90 degree. As simple as that, unless otherwise mentioned. Then next thing, unless mentioned path, we consider displacement only. Now some students get confused that we have to take here the shortest the shortest distance, or what we call as displacement between 2 points, or we have to take the path. So sometimes they get confused. The thing is, unless it is very clearly mentioned that you have to go by this path, you have to follow this path, okay, if it is following this path, how what is the distance traveled, then only you have to consider the distance route, that is if it goes like this. Otherwise, if the question does not say anything, you always remember that you always take the shortest distance between the 2 points, that is the displacement. Understood? Then last is, so in some questions what they will give you, as UPSC likes multiple statements, so basically they give you many statements. So just remember that once you have introduced 2-3 characters, okay, let's say A you have drawn, B you have drawn, okay, now after that please search for the statements that have A or B, otherwise it will get confusing and the diagram won't be connected. So once you have drawn A, B, C, whatever 2-3 characters, then just search for those statements which are directly connected to A or B. That way the question becomes much more smoother. Okay, then next is, a man is facing west. He turns 45-degree clockwise, 180-degree clockwise, then 45-degree anti-clockwise. In which direction is he facing now? Okay, how do you do this? Man is facing west, he turns 45-degree clockwise. Now what you have to do, the simple method is you just keep drawing it. Okay, so let's just start drawing it. Now a man is facing west, so this is west, correct? He's facing in this direction. Now it says he turns 45-degree clockwise, 45-degree clockwise. Now clockwise will be what? Clockwise will be, if he is moving in this direction, what is clockwise? If you remember, clockwise is same as right, so that means clockwise will be like this. So he moves 45-degree clockwise, so I am moving 45-degree clockwise, 45-degree clockwise. This is fine, this is 45-degree. Then further it says, then 180-degree clockwise. 180-degree clockwise is what? If you start from here, 180-degree angle is this, correct? 180-degree is directly opposite, so this is 180-degree clockwise. Then it says 45-degree anti-clockwise again. So from here, if I have to go anti-clockwise, in which direction do I have to go? I have to go in opposite, correct? If this is clockwise, anti-clockwise is again I have to go back. How many degrees? I have to go 45 degrees back, correct? In which direction is he facing now? He is very clearly facing in east direction. Now this is a much lengthier way. A much simpler way of doing this is, you just consider any of them as positive and the other as negative. For example, let's say, see, clockwise is right, I also consider clockwise to be positive, so clockwise is considered positive, anti-clockwise left is all that negative. So now I start counting. See, first he is west, then he turns 45-degree clockwise. 45-degree clockwise, clockwise is positive, so plus 45. Then 180-degree clockwise, so plus 180, again positive, clockwise is positive. Then 45-degree anti-clockwise, so minus 45, correct? Because anti-clockwise is negative. Then what happens? 45 cancel out. What is the change? What is the net change? Net change is of 180 degree. 180 degree we say na, 180 degree turn mar gaya, that means he became completely opposite, correct? So if initially he was facing west, now he would be facing what? Just the opposite, that is east. This is 180 degree. Understood? So this is how you can do it in a much quicker fashion. But of course, drawing this and understanding the angles is also important. Okay, just wait a Is it fine now? Yeah, yeah. Okay. Now, now, okay. So how you deal with angles becomes important. Now, if you don't know, just see the angles also. So this is what, this is usually called an acute angle. This is acute. This will be less than 90 degree. Then there is an angle called 90 degree, which is the right angle. Then this is obtuse angle, that is something greater than 90 degree. Then after this you have a straight angle, or you go exactly opposite. This is called 180 degree. Okay. Then after this you have an angle like this, which is greater than 180 degree. This is called reflex angle. And at last you have 0 degree, or 0 degree, or in other words 360 degree. This is called complete angle. This is obtuse, this is right angle, and this is straight angle. So these are the angles that we have. Okay. Now always when you are moving with the angles, just try to remember this. Straight angle 180 degree, directly you have to go. That's it. Now, yes, Anupam. Now you try this. Ram walks. Try this. Ram walks a distance of 10 meters from his house in the south direction, then turns left and covers a distance of 15 meters. Then he turns right and covers some distance. In which direction is he facing now? Okay, so how you will do this? Fairly simple. Ram walks 10 meters towards, from his house towards south direction. So this is what? This is 10 meters. Now this is his house. Okay, 10 meters towards south direction, then turns left. Left, you understand how you make left? You always move left leg by making L, and covers a distance of, he moves left and covers a distance of 15 meters. Okay, then he turns right and covers some distance. Right is what? If I am going east, this is my right, correct? So I move like this. Okay, and then turns and cover, then he turns right and covers some distance. I don't know what distance. In which direction is he facing now? Is he facing now? Not from the initial point. In which direction is he facing now? Very clearly he is now going in south direction. So answer becomes A, south. Yes, Anubhav. Yes, Satish. Yes, Shweta. Okay, then let's do another. Raman walks 5 meters from his house towards the south. Then he turns left. So first 5 meter towards south. Then he turns left and covers 8 meters. So from here, how much you go? 8 meters. Again left. Then again turns left. So from here, left would be above. Again turns left and covers 15 meters. So he goes how much? He goes 15 meters, much higher. Then it is said, in which direction is he from the starting point? Now can you tell me this? So if this is the starting point, this is where he is now. It is not asking you in which direction he is going now, that will be north. But from the starting point, what is this direction? This is very clearly north east. Okay, now you don't have to worry about the angle. If it is between north and east, correct, you call it northeast. Not necessarily it has to be 45 degree. Okay, when you are calculating the direction. Then do this. This is from CSAT 2020. So it says a man walks down the backside of his house. Okay, straight 25 meters. Now it is very difficult to understand which direction exactly he started with. Okay, backside of his house. Now let's read the question further. Then turns to the right and walks 50 meters again. Okay, then he turns towards left and again walks 25 meters. Now if his house faces to the east, here the question becomes easy. What is the direction from the starting point? Now if his house is facing east, correct, this is his house is very clearly facing east. Now it says he walks down the back side of his house straight 25 meters. So if this is his house and that is facing east, now back side of the house means what? Back side means exactly opposite. So he starts walking in which direction? Back side of his house. That means he starts walking in west direction. This was the only thing that you had to decipher. Otherwise it's a very easy question. So first he goes west direction 25 meters. So this is 25. Good. Then turns to the right. Now his right, if he's west, remember swastik, correct? So it goes right and walks, then turns right and walks 50 meters. So this is 50. Then it says then he turns towards left. So left will be what? If he's going north, this is left, and again walks 25 meters. This is again 25 meters. Then if his house faces to the east, we have already taken this. What is his direction from the starting point? What is the direction? Very clearly the direction is this. What direction is this? This is northwest. Answer becomes D, northwest. Yes, Atish. Yes, with yes, Shruta. Yes, Dheeraj. No. Okay. Last katha Dheeraj ka. Then let's do this 2024. Do it quickly. Yes, Anubhav. Okay. Now let's see this. So what it says, this is from 2024. Okay. Now a person walks 100-meter westward. Okay. So I move this person 100-meter westward. Fine. Then turns left. So from here, it is going west, he turns left. So left means what? This direction. And he walks how much? Again 100 meters. So now he is facing in south, let's say. Now it says he then takes, he then takes 225-degree clockwise turn. Now from here, what will 225-degree clockwise turn look like? 225 looks like what? Huh? So you remember this table: 45, 90, 135, then 180. Next is 225. Correct? So this is like in the table of 45 that you get to this 225. So 225 is what? Isn't 225? Isn't 225 just equal to 180 plus 45? This you can feel. Correct? That means if he is going south now, he takes a 225-degree turn. So first, let me cover exact 180 degree. Correct? Just opposite I reach 180 degree. Then I have to go how much more? I have to go 45 more. So clockwise direction, here till here I have reached, to go 45 more. What direction I reach? This angle is 225-degree clockwise. As you can see, this is clockwise. What direction I reach? Northeast. So answer becomes northeast. Understood? Simple? Yes. No, Dheeraj. Yes, Shweta. Oh, sorry. Correct, Dheeraj. Northeast. Yeah, D it is. Okay, then this is it. This is how you find directions. It is very easy. Now we'll see distance based questions which are much more common. Okay, now before that we need to learn some geometry concepts, very simple concepts. First is the Pythagoras theorem. Pythagoras theorem, you might know that the length of the, if this is a right angle triangle, right angle, so if I make it like this is actually 90 degree. So then in a right angle triangle, the length of this is called as hypotenuse. Okay, this is called as base and this is called as height. So Pythagoras theorem is what? Pythagoras theorem says hypotenuse square is equals to base square plus height square. So from here, if you see this diagram, it is c square is equals to a square plus b square, which you generally remember. Now, of course, ABC can be placed in different ways. So try to remember this. Hypotenuse square is equals to base square plus height square. Now, please try to remember these Pythagorean triplets. It will ease out your calculation. You won't even have to calculate. Okay. So one very famous one, 3, 4, 5. How it works? So it works like 3 square plus 4 square is what? 3 square is 9, 4 square is 16. If you add them both, you get 25. 25 is equivalent to what? 5 square. Correct? So 3 square plus 4 square is equals to 5 square. That means these three can be the side lengths of a right angle triangle, and that is why they form something known as Pythagorean triplets. So 3, 4, 5 is such that 6, 8, 10, 5, 12, 13, then 9, 12, 15, 8, 15, 17, 12, 16, 20, and 7, 24, 25. Please try to remember this. Okay. In one of the questions in, I think, yeah, so basically in one of the questions in 2025, they gave some symbols. For example, the question looked like 7 star 24 is equals to 25. Similarly, it was 12 star 16 is equals to 20. Then something star would be what? This was asked by them. Okay, it was asked like a coding decoding kind of or number series kind of problem. Okay, but what was it? It was actually based directly on Pythagorean triplets. So please try to remember at least these one. I have made a very short list. These when you remember, it will be enough. Now, so first is Pythagoras. Second is this concept that bigger the angle implies bigger would be the side, or bigger the side implies bigger the angle. See, for an example, see this. You see here, which side to you seems the largest? Seems the largest or longest to you? Very clearly, AB seems the longest. Correct? Can you feel it? AB seems the longest. Then, if you look at the angles, this angle, and this angle, which you feel is the biggest? Very clearly, 90 feels the biggest. Correct? Now, can you see that they both are opposite to each other? So what this is what happens, that the bigger angle is always having a bigger size opposite to it. Now if you look at BC and AC, very clearly AC looks bigger. So that is why if this is the first, then this is the second pair, and the last is this third and this third pair. Correct? So A is the smallest angle, has the smallest side. B is the second smallest angle, so it has the second largest side, and C is the largest angle, has the largest side opposite to it. So now I get here that angle A, angle B, angle C, this is the relation between them. Angle C is the largest, then B, then A, and similar relation I will get for the sides as well. So angle A, if you look, so this will be BC is greater than AC is greater than AB. AB is this. Correct? So this also you have to remember. Then, now these are some very basic note points that will help you in drawing diagrams. Okay, first is what we always try to do, we try to draw parallel lines. We want two things in life. Okay, only two things, that either it becomes a rectangle, parallelogram rectangle. Correct? So we want to make rectangles. Why? Because rectangles, if I somehow form rectangle, then if I know this side, I know this side also. Why? because rectangle has opposite sides equal. Similarly, this and this is also equal, correct? So rectangle is what I'm trying to make. The other thing that I'm constantly trying to make is right angle triangles, correct? Because again, in right angle triangles, if I know if I know two of the sides, let's say I know this and this, then I can definitely find this also. Why? Because I have a formula, that is c square is equals to a square plus b square. So that is my aim, that somehow I want to make right angle triangles and rectangles. Okay, then when we are reading questions, always remember that whatever is written, whatever is after, of, or from, that becomes your reference. Okay, for example, Rahul sits to the north of J. What is the reference? J is the reference. So first I will draw J. Then I see Rahul sits to the north of J. So from J, what is north? North is this direction. So Rahul will sit somewhere here to the north of J. So whatever is after of, that becomes your reference. Similarly for from also. So my house is west from the mall. West from the mall. So first, this is the mall, correct? From the mall it is west. So I will look from the perspective of mall, and this is west. So here will be my house. So what I'll draw first, I always draw, this may be written first, Ram is written first, but I always draw whatever is written after of or from first. Okay, this you understand? This we call it in Hindi that you sit here and then see. This becomes your reference. So you sit here and then see. So you sit on J or wherever J is and then look north, you will find Rahul. Similarly, you sit in the mall, then your house will be on the west, like this. Now, if you have understood this, if you have truly understood this, you answer me these two things. What it will look like. We make this as well 30. Yeah. You tell me, is this diagram correct for this or not? 30° west of south looks like this. What do you think? Is this correct or incorrect? 30° west of south. It looks like this. Correct or incorrect? Yes, it is absolutely wrong. Why it is wrong? As I told you, this is the reference. After of whatever is there is the reference. This diagram is wrong. The correct diagram would be this. See, the correct diagram would be first 30° west of south. So first I go to south. I start sitting here. That is in the south. Then from south I have to go west. From south I have to go west. How much angle? 30°. So it will look something like this. This is the correct diagram for 30° west of south. Let me move this here. Now can you draw this by the same logic? So first I will draw what? I will first draw west. So this is west, this is where I am sitting. Now I go 30° south of west. So from west I go 30° south. So from west I go 30° south. This is the angle. Can you feel this? From west I go 30° south. Understood where you have to start? Here I should have started from south and I go 30° west. So I reach here. Understood? Please mind this difference. This was, yes, Channa, this was a question that was asked in 2021. You will see. Okay, based on this concept only. Then let's get started with the questions. Nothing more. Quickly we'll solve many questions, because every year there is one question from this chapter. Okay, every year. Sometimes there are two, but almost every year you get one question. Okay, now the questions are arranged not in the sequence of the year of appearing, but the it is based on how easy it is. So first there are easy questions, then little better, not much difficult. Then first, location of B is north of A. What you will draw first? A. So I draw A. Then it says location of B is north of A. So north of A. So from A I go north, I draw B. Then it says location of C is east of A. So from A I go east and I draw C. Then it says the distances AB and AC are 5 kilometer and 12 kilometer respectively. So AB is what? AB is 5. AC is what? AC is 12 according to the questions. Now it is asking you the shortest distance between B and C. This is the shortest distance. That is the Pythagoras triangle. Correct. Now if you have 5 here, 12 here, what you will have here? You will have here 13. So 13 becomes the answer. If you don't remember, you can just add. So 12 square is 144, 5 square is 25. You add them together, it becomes 169. 169 is what? 13 square. So that's our answer is B. Yes, Satish. Yes, Dheeraj. Yes, Shweta. Okay, then let's do next. PQR are 3 towns. Find it quickly. 3 towns. PQ is 60 kilometer. So PQ, whereas PR is 80 kilometer. Right now I don't know their locations, so I'll wait. Then Q is in the west of P. So what you will draw first? First I will draw P. Q is where? To the west of P. This is Q. Then R is in the south of P. South of P. So south of P is this. Here is R. Then what is the distance between Q and R? Now some distances is given to you. The distance between P and Q is 60. The distance between P and R is 80. Now it is asking you this distance. What will be it? Now you may not know 60, 80, but must remember 6, 8, 10. This is a Pythagorean triplet. So just add 110 in all of them. It becomes what? It becomes 60, 80, 100. So that's why answer is 100 kilometer. The distance between Q and R. Then next, a person walks 12 kilometer due north, then 15 kilometer due east. After that 19 kilometer due west, and then 15 kilometer due south. How far is he from the starting point? Now, first thing, the person walks 12 kilometer due north, then 15 kilometer due east. Now here left right does not matter. He's giving you the clear direction, north, then east, then west. No problem, say thank you and move forward. So 12 kilometer north, then 15 kilometer due east, and after that 19 kilometer due west. Now what you will do? Here you are, but direction does not. Direction is very clearly given to you. That is, from here he go 19 kilometer west. So I am trying to move. See, I am trying to move to west. Okay. Now see, I am trying to move 19 kilometer. 15 I have covered. Now I have to cover how much more? I have to cover 4 more. Correct. And here I will reach. And then it is said, and then 15 kilometer due south. So from here he goes 15 kilometer. This is 12. So he will cross this point also. This initial point also will be crossed. So I go here. This is 15. Correct. Now it is asking you, how far is he from the starting point? How do you find this? How do you find this? You do 2 things in life. That is, you form rectangles and you form right triangles. How do I form rectangle here? If I just join this line, can you see a rectangle forming? Yes, yes. Now, if this is a rectangle, if this is 4, this is also 4. If this is 12, then this is also 12. This you can feel, correct? 12, 12. So if this whole thing was 15, 12 is gone. What remains? 3. Now, if you look for this distance now, this is 4, this is 3. What will be this? This will be very clearly 5. Correct? By Pythagorean triplet. 3, 4, 5. Understood? Simple. Yes, Shweta. Yes, Satish. Yes, Dheeraj. Then let's do another. So it says two friends X and Y start running and they run together for 50 meter in the same direction and reach a point. Okay. So now X and Y start running. They both run 50 meter together in the same direction and they reach a point. Okay. This is that point. Then X turns right and runs 60 meter from here. So here, from here, they have, let's say, reached north. Now they go 60 meter. X goes 60 meter right. So I make X, he goes 60 meter right. Then while Y turns left and runs 40 meter. So this is Y I am drawing. So Y, so now Y I draw. So Y goes only 40 meters. Okay. Y turns left and runs 40 meter. So this left 40 meter. Then it says then X turns left and runs 50 meter. So X is here going in the west direction. Then he goes left and how many meters? 50 meters again. So he goes 50 meters. He reaches here. Here is finally X and stops. While Y runs right, Y turns right and runs 50 meter and then stops. So from here, Y turns right. That means again towards north and goes 50 meters. So how much is this? This is Y and this length is 50 again. Then how much distance is between them now? Don't you think? Don't you think they have reached the same height or same vertical point? So what is the distance between them? Whatever is this. And what is this distance? Very clearly, again a rectangle is forming. 40 plus 60, this is 100. So 100 is the distance that you got between them eventually. Fine. Yes, Shweta. Then let's do another. Yeah. A started from his house and walked 20 meter towards east. Okay. Okay. So A started from his house and walked 20 meters towards east. So A is here, walk 20 meter towards east. Then where his friend B joined him. So B joined him. Okay. They together walked 10 meter in the same direction. Okay. Their choice. They walked 10 meter in the same direction. Now A and B both are here. Can you feel this? I'm not writing so that it does not confuse you in the eventual diagram. But here is A and B both. Now it says then A turned left while B turned right. Okay. And traveled 2 meter and 8 meter respectively. So A turned left and walked 2 meter. So from here, left looks like going down, correct? And how much is it? This is A goes 2 meters. And how much B goes? So B goes 8 meters. Correct? Because B has turned right and traveled 8 meter. Then again B turned left to travel 4 meter followed by 5 meter to his right to reach his office. So now from here B turned left, okay, and this was 4 meter followed by 5 meter towards his right. So from here right is again up. So he goes like this and here is B's office. Correct? Now we look for A. A turned right and traveled 12 meter to reach his office. So from A turned right. Now if you remember, this direction used to be what? This is forming an L. So you have to go right. That means you have to go this direction. How much you have to go? You have to go 12 meters. So now from here, he goes 12 meters. And here is his office. Correct? Fine till here. Now 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 it is asking you, what is the shortest distance between the two offices? What is the shortest distance? Huh? Little calculative you might feel. So basically what you have to do, shortest distance means A and B, this distance I have to calculate. How do I how do i find this distance? What do you think? How can I find? Again, only one trick I have, that is I draw parallel lines to make rectangle and right angle. So now I draw a parallel line like this. This forms a right triangle. Let's call it C if you want. So this becomes ABC is a right triangle. Now what is the length of this side? This is 5. This is 5. See clearly, this is 5. Now 5 plus 8 plus 2. 8 plus 2 is what? 10. So this becomes what? 10. And this is what? 5. Total length becomes 10 plus 5, 15. Correct? Now here, this whole thing was 12. This whole thing was 12. Of that, 4 is gone. 4 is gone. So what is this length? This length is what? This length is 8. Correct? Now let me separate and draw this triangle ABC for you. ABC looks like this. A, B, C. BC is very clearly 5 plus 10, 15. Then AC is 12 minus 4, that is 8. Now the question asks you about AB. AB will be what? AB will be what? AB will be simply the Pythagorean triplet. If you remember it, fine. Otherwise, just add it. So 15 square is 225, 8 square is 64. Add them, 5 plus 4, 9, 6 plus 2, 8, and 2 here. 289 is what? This you must remember. This is 17 square. So that means answer is B, 17. Hello. Yeah. So then, hello. Okay. Okay, Satish. Then let's continue. So this was done. 17 was the answer. Then next question. Now, a person X was driving in a place where all roads ran either north south or east west, forming a grid. Then roads are at a distance of 1 kilometer from each other in parallel. He started at the intersection of two roads, drove 3 kilometer north, 3 kilometer west, 4 kilometer south, which is the route that he should be taking to get back. Then then let's draw this. So basically it is a grid like pattern. If you want, this is a 1 2. Now let's see. So according to the question, X is a person. All these roads are at 1 kilometer distance. Then it says he started at the intersection of two roads. Okay, let's see. He started from here. Now he drove 3 kilometer north. Now when let's draw more. Yeah, so 3 kilometer north, it will be like 1, 2, and this will be the third one. Correct? 3 kilometer north. Then it says 3 kilometer west. So 3 kilometer west, 1, 2, and this will be 3 kilometer west. Correct? By blank spaces, I am just writing the path, and when I circle it properly, that is the point that it reaches. Then 4 kilometer south. 4 kilometer south is 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is the final point. This was the initial point. Now it is saying which further route can bring him back if he does not take the same route. Now, first you observe, if this is initial, this is final, ultimately which route, where he has to go from final to initial? He has to go in somewhat in east direction and little in north direction. Now, whatever path you take, it must have east and north. Otherwise, he is not reaching. He has to take some east, he has to take some north. Correct? Now, let's see the option. So, I have east here, but south, no. East and north, maybe. Then, north and west, gone. South and north, gone. Answer becomes B. Also, if you just check it, so 3 kilometer east is 1, 2, 3 here. Correct? And then 1 kilometer north is very clearly back to the initial point. So, answer becomes B. Then, yeah, Dheeraj. Yes. Then, okay, wait. This is a very similar question. Yeah, do this one first. Okay, if you remember that concept, what I've taught you, that after off you have to consider. Try it. A woman runs 12 kilometers towards her north. The diagram is easy. Main thing is options. 12 kilometers towards her north, then 6 kilometers towards her south. Okay. So let's say this is 12 kilometers. Let me draw a bigger one. So this is, let's say, 12 kilometers towards her north. Okay, this is the starting point. Then it says 6 kilometers towards her south. So 6 kilometers, you come back like this till where? Till 6. Correct? So 6 kilometers south. Then it says then 8 kilometers towards her east. So 8 kilometers east will look like something like this. Reaches here. Then the question is, so this is very easy. So this is the initial, this is the final point. The direction also you know very easily, that what is this direction? This is northeast. But the question is north of east or what kind of north of east? So first of all, south of east is wrong. Correct? This is not southeast at all. This is northeast. Now you have to choose between B and D. Satish says B. Tiraj says B. Okay. So what you have to look? See, if this is 8, now what is this length? Let me take another pen. So this length is what? If this was 12, this is 6, then this is also 6. Now, what is this angle? Is this the smallest angle or not? Correct? Now, if this was 6, this was also 6, the angle would have been 45 degree. Correct? If both were equal and this is a right angle triangle, then it would have been a 45 degree. But here 8 is bigger. So it has to have angle greater than 45 degree. This you can feel. Correct? It has to have angle greater than 45 degree here. Now, Now you have two of the options. So either you look for this. So this is greater than 45 degree. Now if I consider from this angle, so then this angle is what? This is less than 45 degree. Now whatever is given in the question, I'll look accordingly. So it says an angle less than 45 degree north of east, north of east. So I have to go north of east. That means I start from east and I go north. I start from east and I go north. This is the angle that it is talking about. And what is this? This is very clearly less than 45 degrees. East of north less than 45 degrees. So answer becomes an angle less than 45 degree north of east. Yes, Satish, correct. Yes, Dheeraj, correct. Dheeraj has written D. No, it will be less than 45 degree north of east, because you have to look from east towards north. Okay, then yeah, try this. Now, very easy question. It is talking about 6 villages. Now, what I have told you, that first you draw a few characters. So F is 1 kilometer west of D. So first I draw D, then west. F is 1 kilometer to the west of D. Sorry. So this is D. F is 1 kilometer to the west of D. This is done. Now search for the sentences that has F or D. That will make your diagram much easier. Find out. Can you find it? Yes, I can find this. So this is done. Now D is 1 kilometer to the south of A. So if this is D, D is 1 kilometer south of A. So from A, I must be going south to reach here. This is correct. This is also done. Now you have to see sentence that has F, D or A. I can see it here. A is 2 kilometer to the north of E. So 2 kilometer, A is 2 kilometer north of E. So from E, A should look north, correct? How much north? 2 kilometers. So 1 kilometer is this, 1 more kilometer has to be here. And this is, that's why C. Sorry, this is E, correct? So A is 2 kilometer north of E is also done. Then C is 1 kilometer to the east of A. So from A, east you go. This becomes C, correct? Again 1 kilometer. The last is B is 1 kilometer to the east of E. B is 1 kilometer to the east of E. So here is B. This is again 1 kilometer. It is asking you which 3 villages are in a line. So without even drawing the last 2 sentences, you could have done this. But in flow, we usually just draw it. Now, which of them are in a line? So A, D, E are very clearly in a single line. Answer becomes B, A, D and E. Yes, Dheeraj. Then this is also very similar. Okay, let's try doing this. Shahid and Rohit start from the same point in opposite directions. Okay, does not matter. This is Shahid and Rohit starting in opposite direction. Now it says after each 1 kilometer, Shahid always turns left. Okay, so let's say Shahid starts in this direction and Rohit starts in this direction. Now what will happen? 1 kilometer they will travel, and then Shahid always turns left. So from here, Shahid turns left. He goes 1 kilometer here. Then again he will turn left like this. Rohit always turns right. So Rohit, after going here, turns right. So this is 1 kilometer, and then again he will turn right. L is left, correct, for south. So again he'll come 1 kilometer like this, and at this point they will meet again. Then the last one, if you see that this S, that is Shahid will be taking left, that is in the upper direction, and Rohit also going in the same direction, that is they will go together. Now they meet after how many kilometers? So they meet after each has traveled 3 kilometers. B becomes the correct answer. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Correct. All other options are not meeting the criteria. Then next, okay, let's try this. This is from 2025. What it says, there are 7 places A, B, C, D, E, F, G in a city connected by various roads A, B, A, C, C, D, all this. A is 6 kilometers south of B. So now I draw B. And A is 6 kilometers south of B. Then A is 10 kilometers west of C. So if this is C, then this is A, which is 10 kilometer west of C. Then D is 5 kilometer east of E. Now D and E both are not there, so just leave it for some time. This I will come to later. Okay, then it says C is 6 kilometer north of D. C is 6 kilometer north of D. So this is D, this is 6. Now I can get back to it actually. D is 5 kilometer east of E. So D is in the east of E, correct? So here somewhere you will have E, and D is 5 kilometer to the east of E. Then this is also done. Then F is 9 kilometer west of B. So F is 9 kilometer west of B. So F is somewhere here, 9 kilometer, this is F. Then F is 12 kilometer north of G. Okay. F is 9, F is 12 kilometer north of G. So this is 6, this is 6. Exactly here on the same horizontal, I will have G, this is 12 kilometer. Then finally done. Okay. So it says a person travels from D to F through these roads. Correct. This is what makes this question different. It says he travels through these roads. If it was asking about the distance, then nothing else matters. But he's saying that he is taking these roads. What is the distance covered by the person? So he has to go from D to F. So this is D, and he has to go to F. Correct? So let's start counting. So this is 6, then 10, 6 plus 10, 16, 16 plus 6 is 22, 22 plus 9. 22 plus 9 is what? 31. So he has to go 31 kilometers. Okay. So 6 plus 10, 16, 16 plus 6, 22, 22 plus 9 will give you 31 kilometers. That is why C becomes the answer. Understood? Okay. So these two are your homeworks. Okay. This is your homework. Very similar question, and similarly this is also your homework. Okay, only two homework questions I am giving you, that you have to do on your own. If you have any doubts, of course you can ask on the Telegram channel. This PDF will be posted there. That's it for this one. We'll end the session. No, EG is Satish is asking a doubt. Okay, connected by EG and G. Okay, what is the distance covered by this person? Yeah, you can take that route also. D and EG you are taking. Okay, so if this is 5, then this is also 5. 5 plus 9. 5 plus 9, this becomes 14. So this is 19. 19 plus 12. Yes, that also is a possible route, Satish. Correct. So what he's saying, you can take this. So 5 plus 14, you can see here, this is 19. 19 plus 12. Again, you get to the same answer of 31 kilometers. That also is perfectly fine. Okay. Can you please repeat angles? Which angle, Satish? Angles these. different kinds of angles. This, yeah, so these are just different angles. Acute is less than 90°, okay, and if you go right angle is exactly 90. This is called obtuse angle, that is greater than 90 and less than 180°. Then you have straight angle, which is exactly 180 degrees. This is what you call as opposite. Then you have reflex angle, which is greater than 180 but less than 360 degree. This is called reflex angle. Okay, last is this whole angle or complete angle, which is 360°. This is called complete angle. That is, you start from, let's say, here and you come back exactly here. So this is equivalent to 0 or 360, whatever you call it. So if you call it 360, this is a complete angle. Triangles and less and more angles. Yeah, so triangle, Pythagorean triplet. Pythagorean theorem, this is hypotenuse square is equals to base square plus height square. Nothing much, you just need Pythagorean theorem. Now, this you are asking, that is bigger the angle is equivalent to bigger the side. So, in a triangle, whenever you are looking for in a triangle, if you look in a triangle, then what happens? That within a triangle, the larger angle is corresponding to larger side. The smaller angle is corresponding to smaller side. For example, if you see here, which angle do you think is the largest? So C seems the largest, correct, 90°, and it also has the largest side corresponding to it. That is what I am saying. So correspondingly, whatever is the largest angle, it will also have the largest side against it. Like C is the largest angle, has the largest side. Now between, you see between BC and AC, which do you think is longer? Just by looking at it, you might feel that AC is much longer, correct? AC looks longer. That means the angle B is also bigger than angle A. So always you have to look the opposite, correct? So opposite to AC is the angle B, correct? Opposite is that angle which is not being touched by it. For example, if you look at AC, AC is touching this angle as well as touching this angle. So this is not opposite. Opposite will be something that is not touched by AC. And this is the theorem that whenever you have a bigger angle, you will get a bigger side opposite to this. Okay, Satish? Okay, so this is it. Yeah, Satish. Okay, so this is it for our direction sense. Please do those two questions and you please post the solutions. Okay, I'll see to it. And if you have any doubts, of course, you can ask on the group. That's it. Thank you.